How you guys doing today? My name is Jessica Johnson. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by at Vibe Talks, where we're going to be talking about the seventh dimension, and we're going to be covering about the 7 laws of the universe. So you guys get ready, buckle your seatbelts, because you're about to get enlightened. So what is your perspective about the 7th dimension? And do you even know anything about the 7 laws of the universe? Well, if you have followed my lectures and my lessons, you kind of get the idea that dimensions are different landing places for beings to even exist. Some move on, as you would do when you leave this world, which would be the 3rd and 4th dimension. Some are currently leaving now and moving into other worlds, so to speak. The different numbers within those dimensions, they apply to specific frequencies. They also apply to the vibration, color, and light, which are all a part of the evolutionary cycle. It's important to understand that as we enter the higher dimensions beyond the 6th dimensional density, that we wind up losing shape and form to what we know as having a physical body. Our physical body is made up of dense matter. So as you climb up to these higher densities, you start to have less and less of dense matter. So the dimensions become more abstract and easily described, and not easily described in the human language. The 7th dimension is a realm of cosmic sound, not the vibrationary patterns that you hear in the physical dimension. Instead, it's more of the harmonics of creation. That's why when you have like a entity, a spiritual entity near you, you start to hear that really high-pitched sound in your ear. Well, that's because the sound that they're emitting is cosmic harmonics. So remember that a dimension, no matter which one it is basically a state of consciousness, and it means of organizing different planes of existence according to the vibrationary rate of which exists. Each dimension has a certain set of laws and principles that are specific to that frequency of that dimension. One thing about the 7th dimension is that the principles is like the principles of correspondence, which we'll be going more in depth about that particular law later in this discussion. So correspondence winds up teaching us that patterns repeat on every level, which the dimensions is more of the higher expression of what we know as sound. The sound is the sound of creation. On the cosmic creative scale, the cosmic sound, the sound of that the dimension creates, or rather weaves together the structures of reality of our universe. So the first step, as we had discussed when we had talked about the 6th dimension, is the form of the sacred geometry, which you see right behind me, the Merkaba. The 6th dimension, for example, we are becoming more of a consciousness of our own weaver of nature, where we just weave everything together. Our own ability to weave the strings and to pluck out the right holes to basically change our part of the song of creation and to create the life that we want. Those that dwell in the 7th dimension is more of an advanced level of the ability of technology, where machines are not required. It's not a bad thing, right? So this portrays quite often in basically science fiction stories or even movies and shows that you watch. Further into this discussion of the 7th dimension, you'll be better to understand what I mean when I say this. The 7th dimension, it is important to understand that it is the home of the 7 laws of the universe. In this discussion, you'll wind up understanding how these laws of the universe affect you here in the 3rd and 4th dimension of reality. As you might understand in your present life is that there are some rules that you cannot escape. It doesn't matter what kind of loopholes you try to find, you cannot escape certain laws in life. Being that those rules are from the core of the universe, the place where the whole universe is in order. It doesn't matter what timeline you go or what space line you go or what you create in the universe, you will have those 7 laws of the universe. It's the whole you in order of creation and the expansion of the universe. You see, other entities from far reaches of the universe, they tried to teach humanity these laws that go through every dimension. And they knew that humanity within its third dimensional consciousness, we're not able to understand the 7 laws of the universe just by thinking about them or even by seeing them as a whole. So, in this planet, the enchanted path was created. The enchanted path was built by ancient civilizations to basically teach people how to integrate the 7 laws of the universe and to become gods and goddesses of Earth. The fact remains that the only way that you can create a new reality is to know the laws of those realities. That is why we need to understand how to handle them. If you can't go away from those 7 laws, you have to become those 7 laws in you. So, in the world of the third dimension, it had to be split into several different parts, which are these laws, so that we can basically better understand each other within ourselves. In reality, these laws are actually just one. The 7 laws are actually within our own body, as they correlate within the 7 main chakras. The 7 inner chakras within our own body. It is not only an energetic system that powers our own body, but there are also organs and glands. There are specific glands in our body that helps us exist and to even live. Yet, these 7 chakras are also bounded by the 7 laws. We in our daily life, we have to clear those consequences within the actions of every one of those glands, and being that they reflect the laws of the universe. If we're not coherent with every one of them, then you cannot absolutely achieve the 7 laws within. So the place and moment where you can find the 7 laws is within the 7th dimension. The 7th dimension was born from the 6th dimension, and all the others that create the shape of the tetrahedron, which I had shown you in my previous discussions of other dimensions. So just a brief summary. The core of the 1st dimension created duality in the 2nd dimension. And this created the 4 dimensions, the 4 pillars. Then in between that existed the 3rd dimension. This all formed like a pyramid where the 5th dimension was on the top, which was to give you the ability to see the whole process. Then when you drop that down from the top down, it basically created the 6th dimension, which was to transform and to become a creator of your own reality. In the 7th dimension is to basically go into the core of reality, the center of the universe, which is why the 7th dimension is called the dimension of enlightenment. It's the dimension where everything is perfection and everything goes so well, which is why it is often referred to by humanity as heaven. And for many people, when they talk about heaven, they're talking about the 7th dimension. It's a place and a moment in the universe where you can feel everything, you can see everything, where you have so much light and so much clarity of yourself that you can see everything. There in the 7th dimension, you're really not in need to create anything else. You just realize that you are. People and beings that live in the 7th dimension are just so coherent that the 7 laws are just all one law. They dream about realities. The entities there are like children, smiling and laughing the whole time, like someone who had just accomplished everything, who accomplished everything there is to accomplish, and who also accomplished harmony. The 7th dimension is the core of the reality of the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. It's connected to the mind and the dream of the creator. In the 7th dimension, you can feel every possibility of who you are and who you could be. You just have to think about it. You just have to feel it. You have to, as well as to just see it. So within the 7 laws, there is only one law that exists. And this is the only law that exists. There are no 7 laws. It's just one law of the universe. Everything is of the mind. Whatever you think or whatever you project, your thinking, your thoughts would become real. So in order for it to be understandable for the 3rd dimension and to be led by the 3rd dimension, beings in the 7th dimension had to split these laws in 7 parts to be seen That is why it is said that there are 7 laws. We are the entities in the material world. We can also attach those 7 laws within every chakra that was created in the 6th dimension. The first law would be the mind, which of course focuses on the crown chakra. It's called mentalism. Mentalism is the first law of the whole universe, and it is the one that creates everything else. It's the crown chakra that holds the law of mentalism, and it's the chakra within the law that says that everything you believe is what you believe. Everything that you experience is what you're thinking. The mind is not something where you want this or that. The mind is something that you have become. Your vibration is what you are. It's the levels and the ways that you spread around in your creation, from your body to your whole being. If you say that you want this house or this car, the universe will create it in a way of, I want. So you'll always experience the I want. You won't have anything. Think about this, especially those that have children. You're at the grocery store and you have your son or daughter with you, and they see a toy or a candy bar and they're wanting it really bad. They're constantly pleading and harassing you with the whining and repetitive words of, I want this, I want that. Face it, most of us can identify. We all been there. And most times, at least in my household, they walk out with nothing. In some ways, the universe operates in the same way. This method is not even how the law of attraction even works. Being this type of vibrational wave of thinking, it's just the need of something. So you have to change the way you move that energy through your mind. So I guess your next question would be, how, right? Well, you have to become what you want. So what do I mean by that? When we think we want some stuff, or if we become something, we are always thinking in the future. That is why the universe never brings you stuff. It's because you're thinking in the future. The future doesn't even exist in the consciousness of the universe. You have to always be thinking in the present, the here and now, and become the present. If you don't have that, the only way the mind creates that reality is when the mind knows that reality. So you don't have to think in the future. You have to be that thinking of the present. That is how manifestation truly works. It's how our mind works. That's the coherence. That's why the crown chakra is mentalism. Mentalism is what you are. It's not about what you think you want to be. So the spirit knows that it is something, that it is an entity trying to learn from itself. That is why we're not perfect. We as a reality are imperfect all the time, because because if we were perfect, how would us as entities experience something to understand ourselves? You need to be different from one another, to see different perspectives. That is why reality is not perfect. The perfection of reality is imperfection. It's because the spirit knows in order to understand itself, it has to become imperfect. So this brings me to the second law, which is held in the third eye right here, which is the law of correspondence, the same law that I had briefly mentioned about earlier. Correspondence is where you are. The outside is what you are within. And everything that is in the outside will create what is within. What is within will create everything in the outside. It's everything you see from the inside to the outside. And all the information from the outside that conditioned your inside. It's just another expression of the mind trying to show you who you really are. So this is why in the universe that you can see who you really are is by correspondence. Everything is correspondence, outside and within. That is why with correspondence, you need 2 eyes to see, 2 ears to hear, and a nose with 2 nostrils to smell. It's all 2 parts of being that needs to understand. It needs both parts, the positive and the negative, to hold that information of positive and negative all the time, from within here to outside. That is the law of correspondence. So once the mentalism has created this body, this reality to see itself, correspondence will help us to see those realities, to see the mirrors of distortion. Everything in the universe has correspondence. So nothing happens just because it happens in the outside. Everything comes from within, from your mind. Once you have seen the correspondence from the universe, then you realize that everything is connected by vibration. The whole universe, every reality that is outside and within is going to divide its waves in vibration. That vibration would come from the third eye and to the throat chakra, which brings me to my third law, which is located in what? Your throat chakra. So the throat chakra is what holds the third law, and is the one that makes the vibration. Of course, when we speak, our vocal cords vibrate, right? So the whole universe is by sound. The sound of vibration is the one that creates the correspondence in the universe. Every wave, when your action is a low vibration, that everything that is coming to you is of low vibration. If your actions are of high vibration, then everything that comes back to you is of high vibration. So imagine it like throwing a stone into a lake. According to the weight of the stone, that you'll wind up creating one type of wave or another. So whatever vibration that you make is the sound of the universe, and it will be the correspondence to you through that vibration. So that's why the ancient teachings, we were taught that what you say is what you're going to create. Your words is what creates, is the one that creates. That is why even the Bible says, God says, because the verb is the first thing that was created in the universe. It was the verb that created the light. It's the wave of vibration that creates the correspondence of the universe. Everything that is going to be outside is created by waves that you express in the beginning of your creation. So this is why you have to be incredibly careful with not only the way you think, but also how we say things. The way you pronounce your words, the intentions you pronounce those words, is the thing that is going to come back to you by correspondence. Everything is vibration in the universe. So it doesn't matter where you go, even if it's just in your own mind. It will be vibration because creation is constant vibration. That is the law of love. Which brings me to my fourth law, which is, you guessed it, located in the heart. The heart is what holds the fourth law. So when you go out of the system of vibration, you add what? You add rhythm. The rhythm is the heart chakra. The rhythm is the one that teaches you that everything in the universe has a time to do something. So when you have this vibration, you'll have a high moment and a low moment. It just like the waves, just like rhythm. You are positive and negative. You are outside and within. And this is all vibration of the universe. The times you take according to the vibration, no matter if it's low or high, it would be a different rhythm in creation. Rhythms are connected to time, and how many or how much you vibrate is the rhythm that you have created in the universe. You have to respect rhythms. It's in the aspect of order and how things are done. If your rhythm is exceptionally low, your time will be exceedingly long. So things will seem longer than they are. It'll be like this, trying to go from one wavelength to another, and it'll be exceptionally long. So the reason it takes longer is because the wave of vibration is so low. The length of that vibration is so long and so slow that that when it goes back to the other point of that vibration, that it goes just as slow going back. That's why when you go into higher vibration, that the time here and the time there is completely different. It doesn't even go within a linear time of what we understand. So being that this rhythm of time, that it would basically take 2,000 years for something to happen, because the reality that exists is that reality is in low vibration. In high vibration, it would take only just a few days to change the rhythm. So if your heart goes faster, the rhythm goes faster, the vibration goes faster. So the time within that process would be shorter. That is what we really have to understand. Yet if we live a life of exceptionally low vibration or an extremely low vibration, you cannot ask the universe to change your life the next day. We all been there with such expectations, one time or another, that we want the universe to help us with this or that, like now. But it doesn't work that way. The trick is that you have to change your vibration in order to change the times to change your life. The truth is, you won't be able to change your life in just 1 to 2 days if you vibrate at a low frequency. So the fact is that you need to change your vibration, to change the way that you talk, to change the way that you think. And then the rhythm will start to beat at a different level of frequency. It is then that will shorten the time until your life will begin to change. So if you're remarkably high vibration, then the change will be so fast all the time that you won't even have time to recognize why you're changing. So that's why we need to look for harmony. Harmony is to talk freely, like the pulse that you feel from your wrist. It's about understanding what you're saying. To have the time to think about what you're saying is to see that other people are understanding what you say in your words that are very well pronounced. Then the rhythm is in your heart. It will be step by step, where it's kept at a normal beat, where it makes a normal beat. Now, normal is not just a setting in your dryer. A normal life is not where you live and everything is doing awesome, everything's going great. A normal life is to find the moments where you have to go out and within. It's a good time, it's a good within the rhythm that you understand that the moments that you feel sad, that you're aware of that sadness, that you really feel that sadness, because it's the moment where you go within to see a part of yourself that is absolutely not a part of the rhythm that you want to vibrate. You'll have to wait for the right moment to be able to bring out that sadness, to express, to make room to find that happiness. And you'll wind up finding that happiness when you find that the rhythm has changed by itself according to your vibration. If you don't wait for the rhythm at the right time, what you're going through that had caused that sadness will accelerate the process, and it'll take you to a crisis. A crisis could be a wreck in your life, an accident, a trauma, or whatever. It will bring you back to the flow. Have you ever experienced where you go through something and it's a horrible situation and it always brings you back to where you need to be after you have went through that experience? Everything has a time and a rhythm. So this is why rhythm and vibration, they're married together. It's to express what you feel and what you are. This vibration and rhythm that you have within yourself is the cause and the effect. The fifth law, which is located in your solar plex, your stomach, it would be the one that tells you that your vibration and your rhythm is conditioning everything that is happening to your life. If you have a low vibration, everything you do will come back to you in a low vibration. So whatever you do in the universe, it will come back to you in some kind of effect that you had costed it. Nothing escapes from this law of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause. Nothing happens just because it happens. Nothing just appears without a purpose. So when a situation comes up, it will help you to think about when it started. You ask all these questions to go into the past or even into the future to understand why it is happening, because nothing just happens because it just did. The truth is that everything happens to us because we have created a cause to make it happen. This is clearly the law of responsibility. It's useful for us as humans to blame others for the things that happen to us. It's normal because we were taught that there is good and bad. If something happens to us, it must be because we're good people, or that we don't have a lesson to learn from that experience. Yet it's not even like that at all. If something happens to us in a bad way, it's because we have to learn something, and it wasn't in a good way that we had to learn it. It's because at the time we were vibrating so low that we needed to experience the same level of frequency. So when bad things happen to good people, we don't have to judge it if it was a bad thing. We just have to ask, are we a good person? What lesson was I to learn from this experience? Are we really someone who is vibrating at a high frequency, or are we vibrating low? Without judgment, just ask the question to yourself, are you vibrating high if all this is happening to you? So to reverse the effects of your life, you have to change the vibration, your way of thinking, to change the rhythm in order to change the effects of your cause. Then it brings me to the sixth law. I could talk. The sixth law, which is found in the second chakra, which is the sacral, which holds the polarity. It's the law of creation. Everything has polarity. Everything has positive and negative. Being on this planet, we are all living into a world of separation and polarity. Yet polarity is not a law that is something that is bad for you. It's something that helps you go from one point to another. Everything that creates us is magnetic. I mean, think about it. We're electrons, protons, neutrons. It has its own way of energy. The negative and the positive energy, the electrons, the protons, and the neutrons create changes in our DNA. The change of the patterns in a molecular system, which creates our reality. And reality, positive or negative, is something that makes us a part of the all. So when you understand all this, you will see the good and the bad as a way to go forward. You will see the positive and the negative as a way to evolve and to go much further than where you're at now. It's like a train going down the track. You keep it rolling down, and the way to keep it rolling is the positive and the negative. This is because the only way that you can have the strength to go up is to go down, and to take the energy to jump up. You cannot take the energy to go up and to jump higher if you don't first bend yourself and take that energy to go up. I mean, think about this. When a rabbit hops, or even a kangaroo for that matter, they have to bend down to jump up. So that's how it works. You have to have those low points to go up further. That's why negative polarity helps you go up, and the positive must go down in order to have more energy to go up again. So think about this. When you go through like a dark night journey, during that process, your energy is down and low, right? However, when you go through that process and you work through it, it springs you high, exceedingly further in growth than where you were before you began. This is why polarity helps you to go forward, to go toward an evolutionary path, to create new energies. And this brings me to my last law, which is, as you would guess, it is connected to the root chakra, as it's the law of generation. You see, with generation, it just means that everything is generated by the universe, by the energy of polarity, of positive, negative, and feminine and masculine. It's creating the realities. Everything is generating in the universe. There is nothing that is being destroyed. Everything that is being destroyed is just created again. So generation is just to mean that everything in the universe is born over and over and over again. That's the whole aspect of eternal life, is that when we leave this world, we're born again in another world, or we come back to this world. It never dies. It just basically transforms itself. And we are in the time of creating new realities every second. So from the seventh dimension, the law was split into 7 ways in order for many other dimensions to understand creation of ourselves. So if you know the 7 laws, you will know how to move through the realities. You will know how to move through every dimension. You will know exactly what you're going to find in every dimension. You will know exactly what you're going to find in every dimension surrounded around you and within. So within the 7 laws, it's like statements. When you have a set of the most important tools to go through every reality. So you should know the 7 laws to move through the universe. The 7 laws, as I have said, are just one split in many. So the way in the 3rd dimension to understand them is to ask every one of your glands in your body if you are coherent with the laws. One thing the 7th dimension teaches us is that not only the wisdom within the 7 laws, but it also directs us to ask the questions to ourselves, teaching us to go within. We ask ourselves these questions such as, are we exactly what we think? Are we exactly the product or the idea of ourselves? What do we think of ourselves? Think about it in a crown chakra. Everything that is within you is inside of you. So look around your life and see everything outside is correspondent to what you feel within. What do you feel within? And expressing from within. So you can see within that reality. It's your mirror. It's your vibration. So what you say is exactly what you want to say. Is it your truth? Do you express yourself in truth? Do you say the things that you want to say, or do you just keep quiet? Everything that surrounds you is created by your vibration. Is it low? Is it the expression you live in, your outer life? Is it lower or higher? Is it harmony, or is it a big, huge mess? Think about what your vibration is in the universe. Think about your heart. Is it in balance? So you respect the times of your evolution. Do you respect the times of your life? Just ask yourself if you're correspondent or coherent with what you feel, with what you think, with what you love. And is it all coming back to you in a difficult way through time? Does it take longer or a short time? It will tell you by the rate of the rhythm of your heart if you're coherent with your heart through time. We must look at everything happening in our life and ask if we are causing this. Truth is, we are the cause of everything that is affecting us in our life. Are we practicing the law of responsibility? Or are we just blaming other people for our shortcomings? So if it's something that is affecting us, that is hard, heavy, and just a lot of pain, where we wind up feeling stuck, we must ask ourselves, is it me? What do I feel? What do I have within? We have to ask these questions because it's the cause of these effects. With polarity, we ask, do I live in polarity as a creation, or do I live it as a separation? We have to realize that everything in our life that fights against us is giving us just another perspective in who we are. So polarity helps us go forward. It doesn't separate us. So after that, you have to generate every time that you create new stuff. We are creators. Never forget that. We are creators of life and our own bodies. So everything we do has to create the products of life. For everyone, emotionally, mentally, and physically, we have to be someone who creates, not someone who destroys. So if you have all these laws and you have all the questions for each one of them, you'll figure out which way of the laws you're on. These are who we ask ourselves if we're really coherent. Are we in the center of the 7 laws of our body? And those that are the ones that like themselves. These are the ones that we call the masters and descended masters, because they are coherent to the 7 laws within the 7th dimension. It's because they're also coherent with every chakra. and they respect every law of the universe. Every law was not just a law to push us to ask from the outside. It's the structure that we use to create our realities. That is why the 7 laws are asking us to be responsible of our creation. We cannot blame anyone outside of those laws. We have written those laws. So we have written our own reality. This is the wisdom of the 7th dimension. And the 7 laws is a way that we in the 3rd dimension can understand it. The questions you ask yourself may wind up feeling uncomfortable, but these are the questions that I had to ask myself many times, and it brought me to my own enlightenment within my own reality, which pushed me to change the direction of my own vibration. So I hope this lesson has helped you as it had helped me. And trust me, when we start to ask these questions to ourselves, we start to have the wisdom that we need so we can push forward and further into our evolution. So I thank you guys for stopping by on Vibe Talks. And I hope that you could take this lesson and integrate it into your life. Because it's all about learning about ourselves and who we are, and have different perspectives with the things that happen in our life and the people that come in it. So thank you so much. I honor you all. And I will see you next time when I talk about the 8th dimension, which is the dimension of the Akashic Records. You guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for stopping by. And be sure to leave your comments down below and subscribe, because I'd like to see your point of view and what you think about the 7th dimension and the 7 laws that I had discussed. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time on Vibe Talks.